Hello, welcome to Sound For Your Book Reviews. As usual, I'm Tina. Today I'm doing a book review of Next of Kin by Eric Frank Russell. This is a book from, originally written in 1959. This unabridged version is from 1986 from Del Rey. It is a classic sci-fi. As such, this is going to be one of my classic sci-fi book reviews, where first I'm going to do a mini review of the book itself and no spoilers. Then I'm going to give you an abridged, again, version of the plot based on what I remember. One caveat, I might get things wrong because my memory is very faulty. And then thirdly, I'm going to go through my classic sci-fi bingo, which basically allows me to broaden out the things in the book and talk about them. I'll tell you, there's not really a lot to talk about this book. You would think there would be a lot, but yeah. So what is this book about? I'm going to tell you. Recipe for Revolution. From the start, John Lemming's reconnaissance mission into enemy territory was doomed to be a one-way trip. But when he crashed on a distant planet and was captured by aliens, he found that his sense of preservation would not accept defeat. So he began a complex scheme to confound his captors and to terrify them. All he had to work with was a block of wood and a length of copper, and a cooperative but imaginary friend called Eustace. Is that how you say that name? I could have looked this up for this review, but I didn't bother. I think it's Eustace. I don't know. I've never actually heard anyone with that name in real life, so I don't know. That makes me sound very smart. This is going to be a short review because this book really doesn't have a ton going on. What I told you from the back is literally the entire plot. This isn't just how the book starts or maybe to the halfway point. It's literally A to Z almost, the entire plot. Now, he does escape from prison in an amusing way that could only work because he's an alien to his captives, which was quite hilarious, actually. It's the best part of the book. But up until that point in the story, it's just a lot of him running around in the woods. For a book set in the future and the fact that he's a space pilot, there is a lot of woods. He's also an understandable character, but he isn't deep. He's very much a carryover from the really classic 30s sci-fi with their archetypal male characters, though he spices up a little bit by being a bit of a jackass. But he's a likable jackass. I didn't find him annoying or anything. He just kind of wasn't the most fleshed out. All you find out is that he has no family and he has no girlfriend. He has no whatever. I'm okay, do we ever learn about that? No, we don't. We don't learn anything about why his parents are dead or why he has no friends. It's fine. The aliens, unfortunately, are barely alien. They feel like humans in costume. And the world is pretty much Earth. It's just the woods. In that regard, the book is not very interesting from a sci-fi point of view. The book seems to be also poking fun at the military in a way that kind of went over my head, as this is very much a product of the post-World War II era, and I think you kind of have to be part of that to understand it, really, or really be a scholar of post-World War II military parody satire to really get kind of what he's throwing down here, I would argue. He also uses some slang from the time period where I was what? Not even slang, just kind of the way that he talks. It just feels like a 1950s kind of movie, and that's fine. It's just kind of, it's interesting because you read an 1800s book and it's clearly from the 1800s, but you read a book from 70 years ago and it just has a different feel. It's modern, but you're I can tell this is from another time period, and I know I'm missing things that are just kind of contextually of the 1950s. I just find it fascinating. Anyway, so that was my review. I hope I don't know what I hope about this. This book really disappointed me, okay? I thought it was going to be really fun. There's another cover. I'll show it here. And I'm oh, this is awesome. He's fighting these reptile aliens. That sounds really fun, No, this book is kind of it's boring. It's easy to read because it's very quick and fast-paced and you understand what's going on, but it's just kind of there's nothing really exciting about it except for the one part that I'll talk about now when I go through the plot. This is going to be short. Okay, so we have Leeming. He's a private or something. I can't remember his rank, but because he's insubordinate and has no family, he offers or is sent on a scouting mission to behind the enemy lines with this really fast ship. So he's there to scout as many planets as he can before he's caught to send the information back to Earth because they don't have any kind of line of sight to anything that's behind the enemy lines, which is why they're behind enemy lines, I guess. Anyway, at the 82nd planet, oh my God. At the 82nd planet, he crashes. To be honest, I can't remember why. And he self-destructs the ship before hiding out in the woods. He gets captured eventually by the aliens who were there, who are allied with Earth's enemies. The aliens are called the Zangastans, I think, and one of them, who can speak English, interrogates him. Leeming uses a stink bomb to escape. Yes, very cliche nowadays, like you see it in like cartoons and stuff. And he heads back to the woods. He then decides he wants to steal a spaceship because, totally makes sense for him that he can, fly an alien spaceship that would use alien language and have alien symbols and probably have different technology. But he's like, yeah, I can do it. He almost does this by stealing a car. Again, a car that's kind of just like ours. But he gets caught at the airfield and put into a POW prison camp, basically. There are some other aliens there called the Regalians who really contribute nothing to the plot. Leeming manages to escape and helps end the war by pretending that Terrans have imaginary counterparts called Eustaces who are invisible but are able to kill and hurt people. So he convinces the aliens that this is true, as well as some other malarkey, and is sent back home as an envoy of peace. It's ridiculous. It's kind of funny, though. I mean, this book, I don't think you're supposed to take it seriously. It's kind of a farce. But, so it's kind of funny that he tricks these aliens into believing this absurd thing. And he does it by, he's getting this piece of wire, and he just sits in his, you can see it in the picture. He just sits in his cell, and he, pretends that he's communicating with his Eustace by using this piece of wire. And he explains that the wire allows him to communicate. It's very silly. It's entertaining, but I'm just like, what is going on? So yeah, that's the book. So I'm going to move into my classic sci-fi bingo now, where I go through my bingo chart and talk about the book. I don't think this will be that long either, to be honest. Outdated science. I have a quote here. A miniature camera small enough to be concealed in the palm of your hand. Given we have smaller cameras today, that is totally outdated for the future. So I thought it was quaint, though. I'm like, oh, they're so impressed with their little, their little tiny camera that fits in your hand. Oh, so sweet, Spaceship blows up. Yes, he blows it up. He blows up his own spaceship because the aliens can't get a hold of his technology. I'm like, is it really that special? Anyway, there's no social changes. There's no sexy female scientists. There's the aliens. While there are aliens, they are not cool. The Zangastans, or whatever they are just lizards, and the Regalians are just gray dudes with antennas. They are not cool at all. Their societies are essentially the same as Earth's. They're just, again, they're humans in costume. Not interesting. You do not a check mark for that from me. Ancient tech and ruins, none of that. There's no generation ship. Yes, there is space soldiers, because Leeming is a space soldier. There's no AI robots. New worlds. Again, yes, there is, but I'm not giving a check mark because it's nothing special. It's just the woods. It's just trees like ours. There's caves. It's just the woods. I'm not giving you a point book for woods as much as I like the woods. No cyberpunk. Blatant sexism. No, there can't be when there are no women in the novel. There are literally no women in this entire novel. There are no female aliens either. There was one line, surprisingly, that was not sexist for the time period. Bravo, next of kin. I'm going to read it to you because I thought it was funny. It's way at the end. So, he's talking about some other aliens. He claims some other aliens also have some kind of controlling force or invisible friend or whatever. And he says, we are not controlled consciously or unconsciously, Leeming insisted. We exist in mutual partnership the same as you do with your wife. Sometimes she gives way to you, other times you give way to her. Neither of you bothers to estimate who has given way the most in any specific period, and neither of you insists that a perfect balance must be maintained. That's how it is. Seems like he's not a controlling husband, so that's nice. He believes in equality in marriage. Good for him. Reptile aliens. Yes, there are reptile aliens. Unfortunately, they are not cool. LGBTQ plus. No. The Leeming does refer to one of the Zangastans after watching him mince around as a fairy. So I would not call that representation. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. There's no portals. There's no microfiche. Their male MC is not a dick. No, he's fine. He's kind of a jackass, but he's not a dick. Post-apocalyptic, no. Wild weapons, there's a couple things. So apparently the Cassium ion propulsion is how the usual ships run, but we can't tell you how the fancy ship Leeming has, or Lemming has, whatever his name is, works, because it's proprietary information. I was like, well, that's an easy way to get out of explaining it. Just say that Leeming doesn't know. And also, Lemming has a air pistol. It's a powerful compressed air pistol. So I guess he's shooting at people with an airsoft gun. I'm like, okay. Racial equality, not really, because it doesn't. There's no hint of people of color in this book. I mean, there's just Leaning and a couple of his like generals. Mind possession, no. Galactic war, yes, there's a galactic war going on, which is the premise for the book. No time travel. The Bechdel test, you kind of need at least 2 women to do that, and we don't even have one, so no. And we get no quick pick bonus. That's okay. I mean, this is not the worst book in the world I've ever read. It's just not the most interesting. You know, why can't all books be polymath? Why can't all books be bugs versus aliens or whatever? Bugs versus lizards? What was that book I really liked? The Bug Wars. Why can't every book be the Bug Wars? Yeah, just put that on my tombstone. Okay, thank you for watching, and I promise I will find a more exciting, I can't promise this, but I will try to find a more exciting classic sci-fi to talk about next time. Thanks.